Alright folks, welcome back. Today I've got a multi-floor bubble column elevator for you. If you check YouTube and things like that, you really don't see many Bedrock versions available to use in your world, so I thought today I would try and get one built for you. So this one uses a red coater in conjunction with just a bubble column. So we'll go ahead and take a look at it. So as you can see here, we've got the up and down arrows signifying which door takes you to what. You've got the floor selector using the lectern here, and then if we go take a peek around the back side here, it uses this red coater, which is kind of massive, but it can be sort of hidden underground, and then you just have to link up the redstone wherever you need the floors. So one thing that you'll notice is that there are dispensers in there as well at each floor. Those dispensers are going to take the water out of the column, which will slow you for the floor and will not allow you to go past wherever you want to go. However, this is not something you can hop back into and go to the bottom floor, which is why we have the second shaft here, which will just drop you all the way down to the bottom. So for example, if we were to step in the bubble column elevator now, it is set to lobby, and so it will not push us up even though there is soul sand right here. So if we come out and we change this to the first floor, you'll hear some mechanism back there happening, and then you'll see the bubbles finally popping up. So this will take us to the first floor, just like that. And so if we get back in it, it will not push us higher. It'll leave us right here. So we'll go down, and then we will try the second floor here, and then we'll step in second floor, just like that. And we'll drop down, and just to show you that it works for the third floor as well, we'll go ahead and do that. And this building specifically only has 3 floors, but this can go up to at least 14 floors. You might be able to do more than that if you rig it correctly, but we will just go ahead and change this back to lobby here, and then just to show you again, change to lobby. It won't push me up. So that is our bubble elevator with multi-floors, and this is the red coater that we'll be using. This is a pretty standard red coater. You see this a lot. You can change this to anything you want, and then only the one light slash piston will fire. And so this is how it all kind of works. As you can see, as the torches turn on based on what the lectern is set to, these torches fire differently, and then the pistons will fire, and then you'll see that they go back and forth here. So each one of these dispensers has a bucket in there, and so when this is fired over to this side, it will take the water out, which means that'll be the floor you get off on. And then when you change the lectern again, this should suck back to the left here, giving this block power, which will then again fire the water bucket once it has the water bucket inside. And then that'll create the bubble column all the way to the top if you wanted to go to another floor higher than what mine is currently set to. So all that being said, we'll go ahead and start the tutorial here. And if you don't need the tutorial, then thanks for stopping by, and have a great day. Alright, so for this build you're going to need quite a few things. We will just take a peek here. This top row is your basic building blocks you'll need for your building, and it is some slabs, and all this kind of varies based on how tall your building actually is, but for the 3 floors plus a lobby for the building that I will be building for you today in this tutorial, this is everything you will need. So we've got slabs, we've got just your regular building block of choice. You'll need some glass. You don't need glass per se unless you want your building to have glass. A lot of people like to have the bubble column encased in glass, but you don't technically have to. You can use your regular building block if you like. And then we'll use some oak signs. Those can also be exchanged with buttons or item frames or anything that hold water in place without spilling through. But we're going to use signs in the tutorial today. As for the redstone mechanic stuff, you're going to need 1 bucket of water, 3 empty buckets for your dispensers, 3 dispensers, 30 target blocks, 4 sticky pistons, 4 blocks of redstone, 47 redstone torches, 1 soul sand, and then quite a few of your redstone dust. I have a stack here, but might be a little more, might be a little less, depending on how big yours is. And then you'll need a book and quill, a lectern, 1 redstone comparator, and then about 34 repeaters. Again, a lot of this is variable, so it may change depending on how big your building is. Alright, so to start, we are going to just build a floor here. Actually, we'll start with the wall here. We'll make it several wide. And I like to place my slab on the 3rd block here, right? This will be our entryway into the first shaft. Like, I don't like to have 2 blocks tall, so you can do a slab for that 3rd one. And then we will just kind of make another row here like that. And then what we want to do is go ahead and create the shaft for the bubble column. And go ahead and build this up as tall as you want. I would say after, obviously this depends on how big your building is and how much space you want in between your floors. I've found that the sweet spot is about 5 blocks tall per room. So if we look at the doorway here, this is going to be 3, 4, and then 5. And then this would be the next floor, so we'll kind of jut it out so that we know. So just like that, we'll go ahead and build another doorway here that's 3 tall with the slab right there. And then 4, 5, and then we'll just fill this whole wall in. Just like that, and then our next layer is going to be the floor, so we'll bring that out a little bit here. Okay, and then once again, 1, 2, 3, slab, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then fill that in. And then we've got the next floor. And so here we've got lobby, 1st floor, 2nd floor, and we'll go ahead and top off with the 3rd floor here. 1, 2, 3, slab, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Just like so. Alright, and now we will go ahead and finish this bubble column in the back here, all the way to the top. And we'll just leave it open on top. You can close it however you like, and once you have your last floor made, I probably would close it off right about here, you know, or maybe one up right there. That way you're not shooting out the top of it and getting on the rooftop, you know. So from here, we will go ahead and come to the bottom and break this bottom block here. And we want to place our soul sand like that. And then we want to go ahead and place signs on all of the doorways here. Alright, just like that. And then we want to go ahead and fill this with water. There's a couple ways you can do this. I'm just gonna use my bucket here, and since I'm in creative, it'll be a lot faster for me. But you can use kelp if you want to use kelp. You'll need quite a bit, just all the way to the top of your bubble column here. If you don't know how to do that, there are plenty of tutorials on that, but you can't plant kelp on soul sand, so you'd have to leave that as either a dirt block or a sand block, and then you can put kelp in there all the way to the top. And so we'll just go ahead and start this process, and as long as you see the bubbles in the water, that is what you're looking for to make your bubble column. And you want to make each one of these a water source block, and so that way you have bubbles in every single one of them. And then just go ahead and test it by hopping in, make sure that it doesn't stop you anywhere. If it does, you've got flowing water somewhere, and wherever it stops you, go ahead and just make those blocks water source, you know, go up and down like 2 of them or so, and that should fill it in. So now that we've done that, we want to go ahead and start the redstone on this, because this is pretty much done as far as bubble columns go. But in order to create the multi-floor, we're going to need to get a little redstone here. So go ahead and take all this out. Probably need building blocks. Looking quill. Yeah, I'm going to need all that too. We only need 1 lectern, so we'll go ahead and place that down. So this can really be anywhere you'd like within your lobby area. I like to just keep mine pretty close to the doorway there, and so I'm just going to move over about 3 and drop it here. So 1, 2, 3, and then drop it, or 1, 2, 3, drop it. All right, and then you want to take your book and quill, and you want to have this set to page 30 of 30. And then either sign the book right there or place numbers on here. Since we're gonna have the first one be set to a lobby, that's not gonna actually be number 1, it's gonna be lobby, right? And then page 4 of 30 is gonna be our second floor. Oops. And then 3rd floor on the next page, and so on. 4th floor. I'm not going to do all of them, but I will go to page 30 of 30 and just put something here. If the pattern continues, this would end up being the 14th floor, so I'm just going to leave it like that. You want to put something on the last page for sure if you don't sign the book, because it'll remove your pages if there's nothing on the last page. So put something on the last page and then sign it, or you can just close it after that. And you're going to place that book right there. And then behind this, we want to place a comparator so that it reads the signal coming out of the lectern. And so we've got lectern, then we got block, and then on the ground, we've got comparator. If you place this in a different spot, it's not going to light up. As you can see, this won't light up anywhere else. It must be attached to the block that is attached to the lectern. And so we've got our signal coming out now, and then what we want to do is go ahead and create the decoder, red coder machine over there. So to do that, we're going to need our target block. First, we're going to start with a comparator into a block, and then you don't have to do anything with this first bottom layer, but I'm just going to leave mine as dirt, but you can totally change these. You don't have to be dirt, but you want to lay this out about 15 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, just like that. You'll see that you've got some signal coming out of the first redstone dust here, which is exactly what you want to see. If you're not seeing that, you may have done something wrong in the setup, so you may repeat those steps there. So from here, we want to place our target blocks on top of the redstone dust all the way across, and we also want to place target blocks next to the redstone dust all the way across. Alright, so once you have yours looking like this, we're going to move on to the redstone torches. And so the first torch goes on the first target block and it should turn off. The rest of them should stay lit up. Looks right to me. And then we want to place any block, as long as it's a solid block and not a transparent block. right on top of the torches. And you're just going to fill that line all the way across to the end there. Alright, once that's done, we're going to take our redstone torches again and place them on the solid blocks above the torches. This first one should stay on as long as your book and quill is set to the lobby page or the first page in the book, and then the rest of them should turn off. Looks right. So what we've got is inverted signal throughout all of this, and now we want to take our comparator, or I'm sorry, our repeaters, and on the target blocks that are on the ground with the torches, we're going to place a redstone repeater on every one of them, facing into the solid blocks with the other redstone torches. Alright, now that you've got something similar to this, the last step we've got here is to place some redstone dust on this side, but first we need to place a block here where the first target block is, just right next to the redstone dust, and then line that all the way across as well. Then we'll take our redstone dust and we will place one here next to the first block with the comparator, and then we will line the redstone dust all the way across the top of those solid blocks. And that is our red coder completed. So if we were to test it and make sure it works, we can go to literally any page. We'll just put it on the 4th floor's page here, and that should be the 4th torch lit up, and it is. And so if we change this down 1, that should be the 3rd torch lit up, and it is. And so on and so forth all the way to the 15th. So we're going to leave that on the lobby page for now. Okay, so now that we've got our red coder completed, the next thing we want to do is place our dispensers at each of the floor levels here. And you want to place them right on the block with the floor, but adjacent to it. It can be on the left side, it can be on the right side, and it can be on the back side. As I've been designing this and building it, it seems to be easier to put most of them on the left side where these glass blocks are. But you can certainly build yours however you like. So we'll get our dispensers, and we're going to need buckets and then more target blocks. Alright, so this first floor one for the lobby is a little bit tricky because we got to get power from this torch that's on to a dispenser that's going to be located right next to the soul sand. I don't like having my dispenser so close to my comparator and my redstone dust for the decoder. I just might run into an issue doing it like that. So I'm going to place mine on the other side here. So the best way to get this done is to drop down into a hole here next to your soul sand area, and then I'm going to place a block behind, a temporary block behind it, this glass panel here, and then break the glass and quickly put the dispenser in place. If you don't quickly do it, you're going to have water flowing everywhere, and it's going to ruin redstone dust and redstone torches that you may have to replace. But you do want the face of the dispenser facing into the bubble column itself. Okay, now from here we want to take some blocks and build a path for the power to get over to the dispenser here. So to get this path for the first torch over to the dispenser, what we want to do is place a solid block on top of the torch, and then we're going to take a redstone repeater and put it just like that, facing towards your target blocks, headed the direction we want to go. So from this redstone repeater, we want to go ahead and place a solid block here, and then we're going to run a line across here. So from this redstone dust here, we want to go over 5 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's if you placed your lectern in the same spot as mine. Yours might be slightly more, slightly less, but the goal is to get a sticky piston under the last space here, and as we get it powered, so redstone dust here, repeater, redstone dust all the way across, and as it gets powered, you'll notice that the piston extends, and then we can place a redstone block right there. And then we want to take our redstone repeater and then lay one right here, and then take another redstone repeater and lay it right next to it as well, so that when it loses power, just like that, it just powers the next redstone repeater instead. And so that's all we're doing is changing which one is getting powered. So as we were to change this here, see it move to the left, and then if we go back to the lobby floor, it moves to the right, just like so. So we will take one more building block here and place it right next to this redstone repeater, but make sure it is touching the dispenser. As the first redstone repeater gets powered right here, it'll power the block and it'll still fire the bucket of water inside of the dispenser here. So once we have this all built right here, we want to go ahead and place a bucket of water in the dispenser. And so what's going to happen is when you change the floor here, let's go to the first floor, it's going to fire once and it should empty the bucket of water, and then if you were to step in it, it should work still just fine all the way to the top like that. And then if we go back to the lobby's floor, it fires the bucket of the empty bucket this time, and it takes the water out, creating a flowing water space instead of a water source. So as you can see, we don't even have the water bubbles anymore. So if I get in it, it doesn't push me anywhere. So that's exactly what you want to see for your first layer right there. Now the next layers are not too complicated. It's pretty much the same thing, except we're going to be building up, and we're going to be having redstone torch towers here. So on the next torch, you're going to place a block, solid block, and then a redstone torch, and then a solid block, and then a redstone torch. This second redstone torch you place should turn on, and then we just keep going up to the floor. Nope, don't need to go that far though. So we want to make it even with the dispenser as best we can. So we'll go ahead and place a temporary block behind the glass piece to make it placing the dispenser a lot easier. Right, so we're going to break this glass and then quickly place the dispenser so that we don't get water flowing into our contraption. And again, make sure that the face of the dispenser is facing into the bubble column itself. Then we can break the temporary block, place a regular block, solid block, and then all we want to do is create a line of redstone from the torch to the block plus the dispenser. So we will just take a couple blocks out here. We'll take a couple of blocks out right here underneath the dispenser and the solid block, and we're going to place redstone repeater on each one of these. And I set the delays on only these last ones here to a 2-tick delay. Or, I'm sorry, a 1-tick delay. And that way when you turn the pages of the lectern, it doesn't fire both really quickly in succession. It'll take a hot second to take the water out, put the water in, that kind of thing. So now we want to get a piston set up to where it pushes the redstone block back and forth here. So to make this work on this one, we are going to need to raise, we're going to need a oops. So to get this to work, we're going to need to place a redstone block on one of these, and as you can see, we've got power running into that solid block there, and then we want to place a temporary block and then a sticky piston. And so as this sticky piston gets power, it will push this redstone block into the other set of repeaters, again firing the dispenser. So we will take a redstone repeater right next to this torch, and then a redstone dust right next to the piston. Alright, so once you have your first floor's redstone set up, you want to go ahead and put a empty bucket in your dispenser there, And then we can come over to the front side with the lectern and set it to the first floor. I know it says second floor, but that should be the first floor. And so we've got bubbles, and it takes us right to the floor. Perfect. And so if we change it back to the lobby, you'll hear it all firing, and then you won't even move up because this one has done what it's supposed to do. Now, if you want to test to make sure that you can get to the next floor up, even though you haven't set up the redstone for it, just to make sure that it does put water back in the bubble column so that you go past it, you can go ahead and set your lectern to the next floor up, and it should shoot you all the way to the top. So we will go back down to the lobby, and then we will come to the back and carry on with the next floor. So again, we're going to place a block next to the glass piece that is level with the next floor, just like that. And then we're going to quickly break the glass and place a dispenser so that we don't get leakage anywhere. And then we want to create a redstone block tower from the next torch in line here all the way up. And make it as even as possible, or as close as you can get it. That looks about right. We will go ahead and place our blocks on the side here with our repeaters going into each, and then remember to set these to a 1 tick delay there. And then we want to place a redstone block, and then we want to come back to break this first one and then place a sticky piston just like that. And then we want to just line up this block with the piston here. So looks like we need to bring it over 1 and then out 2, just like that. And we'll take redstone dust, put it on top, and then bring it over 1, and then a redstone repeater with another redstone dust, just like that. Now, once that's all set up, again, go ahead and take an empty bucket and throw it in your dispenser. And then we'll come to the lectern and we'll just test it again. Should be the third floor or second if you're keeping count. Just like that. Absolutely perfect. So we'll come back to the bottom and then reset this back to the lobby. And then again, make our last, since we're only doing 3 floors here, we're going to make our last one. So place a block. Quickly break the glass, place a dispenser, make sure the face is towards the bubble column. Go ahead and go to the next redstone torch in the red coater and then start building your redstone torch tower. So it appears we ran into an issue. Since we came across this issue here where we place a redstone torch and it's on, it's providing power to the piston, which is not what we want to see. So best thing we can do to fix this is remove this torch that even turned it on, place a torch on the side here, and it's still in the correct order. So we've got off, on, off, on, off, and then on, and then we'll just bring it up again just like that until we get it about even. So right about there, looks pretty close. And then we'll go ahead and create our platform for the repeaters and set these both to just the 1 tick delay. Go ahead and place your block of redstone dust. Temporary block, break the first one there, and then lay down your piston, and then you can break that last one behind it. And so now what we want to do is get our power over to the piston. So we'll go up 1, over, and then 1 more over, and then 1 more towards the piston. So then we'll just take our redstone dust and bring it all the way over to here, and then we'll take a repeater and then go into the piston here. There's 2 ways to do this. You can either put a block on top to provide power, or you can just lay a piece of redstone dust. Doesn't matter which one you choose. So to double check and make sure that it fires correctly, we'll go ahead and set this to that specific floor, which should be either 4th floor or 3rd if you're keeping count. And then we'll go look to make sure that it fired, and it did fire. So it's got power and it's pushed over to this side, which is 100% correct. So we'll go ahead and reset this to where it doesn't have power, back to the lobby floor. And we will go ahead and put our empty bucket into the dispenser like so. And so now if we give it a test, walking into it should do nothing because we're set to the lobby. So correct, doesn't do anything. Set it to the 1st floor. Takes us to the 1st floor. We'll set it to the next floor. Make sure that there are no issues here. 2nd floor. Perfect. And then the last one. Perfect. Just like that. Now all you'll have to do is create an exit shaft. So I would just, for my build, I would just come over a couple of blocks here and create a hole and a slab on top, and then just sort of do that with every one of them. So 1, 2, and the 3rd one has a slab. 1, 2, the 3rd one has a slab, and again 1, 2, 3rd one has a slab. And then on the back side you'll want to create the shaft all the way down as well. So we'll just do it like this, all the way down, all the way up. Like that. And then the last one is going to be here, all the way up. Just like that. So you've got a little shaft in the back and you can't see through it, so it's not super hideous. And then just on the very bottom, you can do this a couple of ways. Some people like to use the magma blocks for their base block here. I'm just going to grab a water bucket. And I'm going to break this one and just place one piece of water right there in the far back side, so that whenever you fall into it, instead of just landing in the water, it kind of pushes you forward. That's how I like mine, but you're welcome to do it however you'd like. So that's pretty much it. That is our tutorial for a multi-floor bubble column using a red coder machine with a lectern. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. If you like the video, please leave a like. If you dislike it, go ahead and hit the dislike. Don't forget to subscribe, because there will be future content for you. And most importantly, have a great day.